Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NXT Takeover Hangover. I am TJ. Next to me is not DQ. He's out on a little family trip in the middle of the woods of New York somewhere. So unfortunately, he's not able to join me. Luckily, Ray was able to join me. So Mr. Ray of Sunshine, how are you this Saturday evening?
Well, I'm the ray of sunshine, so naturally I am fantastic. I was actually out in the woods earlier today, went for a little hike ski, got home in time for some NXT Takeover because NXT is better than AEW.
It is indeed. Even though I do have an AEW hat on, it's okay though. We still, we love wrestling in this house. So the first few things before we dive into the matches, I was loving the XXX WrestleMania 30 set. I know you commented on that too as well. It was a good little throwback. Did you agree?
I did, yeah. So I was a little disappointed that NXT Takeover 30 did not take place in the Thunderdome, to be quite honest. But it is what it is. You got to kind of. I understand the fact that NXT, they still want to kind of differentiate it from the main roster stuff, so it can't necessarily take place in the Thunderdome. They're gonna try and save that, I guess, maybe for the SummerSlam, and it is what it is. But I still enjoyed it, and I was glad that they at least, even though it wasn't in the Thunderdome, they still at least did something a little bit different. They made a different set to therefore separate it from it being just a normal show that obviously we've seen for the last few months.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it still had that small arena feel that NXT used to have. It was a good throwback to the original takeovers that they had, but it still was something different, which was cool. And then speaking of something different, we had Vic and Corey in the booth with Beth Phoenix via satellite. So it was a little throwback, and Corey Graves back in the mix.
I was glad to see Corey. I was glad to see Beth Phoenix kind of back in the mix. Obviously, I always thought Beth Phoenix was a great commentator. Personally, I thought she's always been fantastic in the booth and on the mic. So I was glad to see her back in there as far as for a takeover.
Yeah, I just hope everything's okay with Morrow. I do miss Morrow and Nigel, but Corey and Vic have been a good addition. Let's jump right in there. So the opening match was we'll talk about the pre-show a little bit. So it's the triple threat tag match.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I'm pretty sure only one person predicted Breezango winning. I don't know why everybody's got a problem with Breezango all of a sudden. Doesn't they can win a match, but
I did not think
one person.
I thought that they were going to show up and do that, but they already had their match. Like they just faced Imperium a few weeks back, so that's why I was kind of sleeping on them a little bit. But it was overall a good match. I mean, it was I think the whole purpose of it was to get Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde a little tag action, get them in there with two teams, get them some ring time. And I mean, they definitely look good. It's the first time I've seen them in the ring since, actual match since the Cruiserweight tournament. So that was really good for them.
No, I definitely agree. I think that it was a good way to showcase all three teams, but I think just at this point, between the three of them, Breezango is obviously the most over. They're the babyface team. So realistically speaking, I felt like it made the most sense for them to win. Given that they're again the babyface team, to go against Imperium, which obviously your heels. So it's a little key.
Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, it made sense.
It does. I think, honestly, on the negative side, which I hate to go, because, again, I'm kind of like, I'm all about the power pod. I feel like this kind of showcased the look of the NXT tag division in the fact that a team like Breezango, who has already fought for the NXT Tag Team Championship, they've already kind of gone for that. Realistically speaking, though, they are the only team left. They're the only team in NXT to vie those championships. And it's not because that they're not necessarily good. It's not because they're not good enough. But it's because it's the only thing.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of shows that NXT needs to kind of start building up their tag team division again, which is really sad to say because the tag team division was, they were the peak for so long.
Yeah, and they kind of hot-shotted everyone.
Standard.
They brought everyone up to the main roster, and that's really what it was.
They did.
I mean, It's nice to see the
Well,
Street Profits and the Warrior or Viking Raiders up there, but they could have hung around for a
yep.
little while. But
No, absolutely. So it's kind of the tricky part. I'm super excited for Brazil. I'm glad. I hope that, they can move forward. They're going to have good matches regardless. No doubt about that. But it definitely shows. I think this match really, it showcased how good the few teams that in NXT are, but it also showcased how few teams
and who knows? They could actually win it because, NXT UK is coming back in September, so Imperium might just go back over there and go, do their thing in the UK.
Absolutely.
The opening match of the actual TakeOver card was Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. It was exactly what you thought it would be. It was a very competitive match. It was a little technical. There's a little bit of drama with Finn Balor missing that coup de grace, but and I actually thought he might tap out, but it completely made sense to get Finn Balor that win because even Thatcher looked good in the loss with against Finn Balor. What did you think about that one?
Absolutely. I was a little nervous, even because if anybody that read the predictions on jobberknocker.com saw, obviously I picked to win, but realistically speaking, I was a little nervous because Timothy Thatcher, he's coming up. I could definitely him beating Finn Balor, but I can't pick against my man. So, really speaking, I had to go with Balor. But Thatcher still had a good run, and Thatcher still looked good in this match. I think this was definitely one of those addition by subtraction. He didn't have in the match to come out looking as good as he did. Overall.
And that's what I thought too. If you lose to someone like Finn Balor, you're not jumping down on the card by any means. Balor was the inaugural Universal Champion, so he's right up there. You could easily say he's one of the top 5 in the company right now. Losing to him was by no means anything like a bump down. If anything, it bumped him up on that ranking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So next up was the North American Championship ladder match for Keith Lee's former championship. I know you were talking in our thread and you said that it was a little lackluster to start. That kind of threw me off a little bit. How do you feel about this match?
I feel like out of a roller coaster of a ride. I feel like going into this match, me personally, my expectations were the original NXT ladder match, the original match for the NXT North American Championship, which was that match still show at that takeover. It was incredible. The spots were amazing. The storytelling was awesome. Everything about it was perfect. It was up there. It was match of the year. So for me to hear that NXT North American Championship was up for grabs in a ladder match, I said to myself, okay, these guys are going to try and take to that level. And to me, this was not – it was a good match. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It was not anything that I would nominate match of the year, match of the month, match of the week. It was a good match. Get me wrong. It had some fantastic spots, but overall, it didn't go next level, which is what I was looking for it to do. And I don't know if part of that was because Velveteen Dream was involved and everything was going with him. I don't know. Part of it for me personally was because Cameron Grimes was involved. Cameron Grimes guy. I get that. I don't and you tell me, honest.
So going into the match.
The very first time the North American title for grabs was in a ladder match, everybody that was 100%. That was match of the night. It was a grabs. It was nomination match of the year. Was this North American ladder match anywhere near that?
No, and it definitely wasn't. And that's the hard thing with ladder matches. So with me, when it comes to a ladder match, I look for unique things. Because for a while, when you watch all those Money in the Bank matches back, everyone kind of, had a lot of repetitive spots. They all have the, sunset flip into a superplex. It gets very repetitive. So if you can do something unique for me, it automatically gets a bump. So that one that you were talking about from NXT Takeover New Orleans, that had a lot going on in there. That was very unique. This one had a few spots. I know, Bronson Reed pulled who did he pull? He pulled the Velveteen Dream up into the ring with a ladder. Like, I popped hard for that one. I think Cameron Grimes got jobbed a couple times. Like, he got stuck in the splits. Like, that was really impressive. Even though Bronson Reed missed a low blow, which was a little disappointing. I popped hard for Candice, getting a little intergender wrestling going. She got, she she hit Cameron Grimes really good. Like, he took a couple bumps for her, but I think everybody in the match except for Johnny took a bump from Candice, which was great.
Yeah.
And when it ended, I thought for a minute that they were going to repeat the Otis spot because they had it was Gargano and Damian Priest up at the top, and they were tugging, and I was waiting for it to just drop right into Cameron Grimes. It would have sucked if they just did that spot, but it would have fit the Cameron Grimes thing perfectly. But we got Damian Priest, and actually, I got a text from him. I got to go over to his hot tub after this, so I'll take a drive down to downtown Orlando.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. Excuse me. If we're holding up, by all means, you let me know. I can just shut it down real quick. Yeah. I apologize if you gotta go hang out and mix it up with the elbows and whatnot.
Well, we gotta finish this first, because if I don't finish this, Nestle's gonna send me a nasty gram. He's gonna be upset, and he doesn't take me having kids as an excuse before I can get stuff done.
He's got twins. There's only so much you can do about that. So
until you get a 3-year-old that hits you back, then you got problems. The next match on the card was the one that people are talking about right now. It's all over social media. It was Adam Cole Bebe versus Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee cutting the promo at the beginning. He said he has the best kick in the history of legs. And that one got me. I popped hard. I clapped. I was like, that was awesome. But Pat McAfee overall was very impressive. I mean, it's not too often that someone gets their first match and can look that good. Of course, Adam Cole is just a consummate professional, made him look like a champ. I threw back, I was trying to think of some celebrities that had great opening matches or their first match. I look at Floyd Mayweather. As much as I hate the man, his match at WrestleMania 24 was really enjoyable. But Pat McAfee was the man. He looked like he was we joke about it, but he's better on the mic than half of the NXT roster. He did a few moves that I was even some of the NXT jobbers can't even do. So I was very impressed with that. By no means did I ever see him winning that match, and I picked Adam Cole for it, so I did the right thing. The one thing that really jumped at me was Adam Cole was going for the last shot, and as a heel, he has pulled his knee pad down the entire time. And I think that this was a great feud to turn Adam Cole face, and I think that's what's going on here. They haven't made it very clear, but it definitely looked like it on this one, because he, started pulling it down, looked at it, and was like, nah, I'm just going to do the other one. I went for the Panama Sunrise. How'd you feel?
I definitely agree. I think that Adam Cole it was an interesting situation in regards to, I feel like the whole face to heel turn kind of happened before this match in regards to McAfee obviously diving, just head on into the heel role versus Adam Cole, doing the whole face roll and everything. So I was 100% in on Adam Cole. I was, even beats this match, this is leading back to the day that Pat McAfee was hired from WWE. I couldn't stand the guy, and I don't know from if for him it was a whole character thing. He was playing a role from day one. Then good for him, because I fucking hated the guy. I thought he was getting shit from the beginning, from being a color commentator or something like that. I couldn't stand, and literally from one I was like, get this, and I don't want to, but to quote Nestle, get this fucking guy off my TV. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want nothing to do with him.
I will take credit. I will take Pat McAfee over Sam Roberts any day. So let's be real about that.
I would.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not say Sam Roberts. You're the ray of sunshine. You can't be.
I don't want to hate Ray. I don't want to say. I don't want to. I think guy. He's not that mad.
Anyway, back to.
But yeah, but I'm saying I ain't met Pat McAfee, so I don't know about him. But like for like, I've never been able to like, I've never caught on to him, Pat McAfee, when he was, you know, in the pre-shows, when he was just doing backstage reviews or whatever. Like, he was just never on. I was like, this guy drives crazy. Like, because he always seemed like that guy. He would just say shit to get you going. He was you know, for like an Ian standpoint, he was like a Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
You know, he was always that hot take guy. You know, like, oh, I'm gonna say something just to get the people riled up.
Some of the pre-shows
like,
too.
Like,
some of the pre-shows he came off very fake. Like, you know, he looked like he was acting a lot. So I wasn't really buying it. But this feud, I mean, he held his own, like, to the point where, like, I know JC was saying that, you know, he owned Adam Cole on the mic. I think if Adam Cole had picked up a mic in this feud, it would have been a different story. Like, Adam Cole is probably one of the best on the mic. I mean, even before he was in WWE, I said he was the best person not in WWE on the mic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, had he picked up a mic, it probably would have been even better of a feud in many ways. Yeah. But I think the fact that he didn't, it just let the whole thing shine and gave Adam Cole this like random spotlight.
Yep. Let's pump the brakes on Adam McAfee being a better promo than Adam Cole. Okay? Because the only reason that Pat McAfee better promo than Adam Cole is because Adam Cole let him be.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Okay, like, and look, I'm not trying to take anything from Pat McAfee. His promos have been fantastic. His ring work was beyond what I thought it would be. You know, I tweeted it out. Pat McAfee was a million times better than Lawrence Taylor. And for me, WrestleMania 11 was a great main event. Like, I've always enjoyed WrestleMania 11. You know, the whole Taylor thing I thought was fantastic. I thought Lawrence Taylor always held his own against Bam Bam Bigelow. Like, it was great. So
don't tell Nestle you said that, because he's going to hit you hard for that one. Because I think that was come
at me, bro. Look, at the end of the day, like, WrestleMania 11. Look, I'm not coming here and tell you that it was a technical, you know, main event, you know, grappling and everything. Like, from a wrestling perspective, it was garbage. But at the end of the day, it sold tickets. And it was a situation where it was a celebrity versus a wrestler, and Bam Bigelow did what he had to do. Adam Cole did what he had to do. The only difference was Adam Cole won versus Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee did what he had to do. Like, throughout that entire feud, I will say, out of the two of them, Pat McAfee definitely shined brighter than Adam Cole. Adam Cole didn't need shine bright. The whole purpose of that feud to get Pat McAfee over. And that's exactly what he did. And that's why it was great. But at the end of the day, the guy who was one of the longest reigning champions of NXT won. And that's what needed to happen. Like, if Adam Cole lost that match, it would have destroyed him. Pat McAfee losing that match, nothing for Pat McAfee, because he is just a dumb. He can come back and he can still be a tough, and he can do it. He can still build himself up from here.
I don't know if it would have destroyed Adam Cole, but that might be a little much. But, you know, also, by the way, speaking of Bam Bam, Bronson Reed, the only highlight that I thought in that match that he had was his awesome Bam Bam outfit. But, you know, I digress. So the one thing that NXT has struggled with, they have an outstanding, amazing women's division, but they always place it after the most talked about match on the card. And they did that again this time with Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. Right after the match that everyone's talking about. So, like, everyone's on this high about how fun that match was and where, you know, how they felt about it. And then, like, these two ladies put on a amazing match. Like, Dakota Kai hasn't looked this good since the Mae Young Classic. Like, when she competed in the first one, like, she looked great in this. And I think that the two of them showed exactly what this women's division really can do. But I think we were all still on a Pat McAfee high that, like, we kind of, you know, didn't appreciate this match. So I might have to watch it again and give it a real opinion on it. But, you know, it was cool to see, you know, and the obvious ref bump, the obvious Raquel Gonzalez interference, and then, like, Super Io nailed 3 beautiful moonsaults that only she can hit. So Io Shirai definitely hit. It was a good first defense for her. But, like I said, the placement on the card, like, I think Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler had this happen like 3 times where they had like a, you know, good to great match, but it followed an amazing match and just, like, you know, it fell flat for me. And that's what, like, I don't want to say it fell flat because it was a really good match, but it wasn't as hyped as I wanted it to be, I guess.
So here's my question to you then, because you're kind of the NXT guy, and that is throughout most of Shayna Baszler's title run, it was always said like, because she was kind of in that, you know, between the two big matches kind of match. Like she was essentially put, I hate to say it, but like in the bad match spot. And it was, I feel like it was because she wasn't as exciting as the ones that were before her, the Sashas, the Baileys, the Beckys, and whatnot. So now you've got Io Shirai, who's, you know, one of the more exciting NXT champions of her generation, basically being put in that spot. And I guess the most part, it sounds like you're saying that you kind of feel like same in regards to her, in regards to this match. So my question, I guess, is like, you know, why, and is there anything that they could do to maybe fix it? I have been a big fan. I have been a huge fan of the NXT women's division for, good Lord, a long time. Probably since, you know, the Force women, you know, Bayley and Sasha and them were part of NXT. Even before that with Paige and everything else, like I've been a massive fan of the women's division, and I understand, you know, it goes through the ebb and flows, and it goes through, you know, it's like a roster ride and everything else. So, like, my thing is, and this is not a knock at Io Shirai. I'm a huge Io Shirai fan. I want her to be a huge star. Question is, do you feel like she is a huge star? And if not, why?
Oh, I think Io Shirai is a huge star, and like I was saying in the thread, like I would love to see her get called up, but I think she would probably get lost in the shuffle with everything. As for like the matches, like really what it is, NXT just has, I mean, they load their cards with great matches. Like they don't put filler in there. Like I listen to Bruce Pritchard and Eric Bischoff's podcast, and both of them, when they go through a pay-per-view and like, you know, Conrad shits on a match, they're like, well, we needed it to bring the crowd down. Like NXT usually doesn't have a match to bring the crowd down. Like it is one, like I've never seen an NXT Takeover live yet. Like I've only seen just an NXT like taping. But like if I saw like a Takeover live, like that is one long high of an event. Like that is just nothing but stop. Like, you know, I know you've been to a couple of WrestleMania. I mean, you've been to like every pay-per-view known to person. But like, you know, I've been to a few WrestleManias where you like it's high and then you go down and you go high and you go down. Like, you know, we'll talk about it later. But in your you're talking about Royal Rumble 2003, like that was the ultimate up and down pay-per-view. Like you had a great match and then you went down, and a great match and down, and they built it up and down like that. And I think that that's what, and it's a good problem to have. Like, you know, a great match, but the crowd's just not, you know, into it. Like, granted, there's no crowd. You know, you were talking about me here, but I love the match. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the match. It just was, I think I was on a high, and it just kind of was like, it was good.
Okay. Let me ask you this question, okay? It is, so NXT TakeOver has ended. I will even give you the fact that you know how each match ends, okay? You are a live participant. You are at the event. Which match during this event do you say, I'm going to get up and go to the bathroom?
In this pay-per-view event, hindsight?
Yes. NXT TakeOver Boston, which is what this event should have been. Which match do you say, I'm going to get, I'm going to get up and go to the bathroom?
So, I mean, you don't know me that well. I see Damian Priest at the top of that thing, of that ladder, holding, as soon as he breaks that title, I get up and run. I've done it before. I get up and I'm like, I'm going to beat everyone, because I don't like to miss anything, but I've also at that point probably had like 2 or 3 beers in me, and it's time to break the seal. But I time my best to do the middle of the thing, but that's also me. I'm a smart fan. I know when they're doing, you know, the black screens and they're like, you know, changing the mats and whatnot. So I kind of have that idea. If I had to really take a piss break, it probably would have been the ladder match. Like, and if I had to say my worst match of the night, it was that one. Like, not counting the pre-show, but
Look, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I literally tweeted at a certain point in the match, during the ladder match, but I literally tweeted, is it just me or does the ladder match kind of suck? And everybody, oh my God, what are you talking about? And I'm like, all right, hold up. Like, yeah, I'm fucking shit, man. Like, whatever. But, like, just saying, like, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying, and as you said, like, I'm not saying that the ladder match wasn't good. But for me, NXT has just set the bar to a next level that, as good as the ladder match was, for NXT XXX, it wasn't. For me, it just wasn't up to snuff. So and I think honestly, like that's the big question, and that's not even just for tonight. It's for the entire weekend. Because if you think about it, this entire weekend was supposed to take place in Boston. SmackDown was supposed to be in Boston, NXT Boston, SummerSlam Boston, Monday Night Raw Boston. So the real question is are all 4 of these shows, up to snuff? Are they up to par for what Boston would expect and what Boston would want and what Boston would love? All weekend long. You know what I mean? So realistically,
now it's in the wrestling capital of the United States in Florida, so we don't have that problem down here.
Wrestling capital, bro. You in the COVID capital. That's what you're in right now.
We are COVID capital. We are wrestling capital. We got AEW. Yeah. We got one thing I did notice too, by the way, is and it's just me being me, but in the crowd they have put the risers back in the crowd side, so I think that they might be inching their way to getting fans back into Full Sail. But that's beside the point. So speaking of matches that let people down, Karrion Kross versus.
What, are we going to AEW real quick?
No, we're not going to talk AEW. Sorry, I don't do that one. Sorry. So Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, the storytelling in this feud has been off the chain. Like, they went and choked out Dominic Dijakovic. Like, it was a stare down. Like, that 10-minute promo thing got me sold on this right away. Karrion Kross's presentation has been amazing. I love the Karrion Kross promos that they did leading up to this, where it's just his eyes as Scarlett's staring down Keith Lee, for real. I could have done without the fireball, the Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan fireball. I feel like they should have known, fireballs don't work in wrestling, just don't do it. The match itself was not at all what I expected, but I enjoyed it. It was slow moving. There was a lot of storytelling in it because it was Keith Lee kind of getting his revenge, getting his, thing in. I enjoyed when the cross jacket was in and Keith Lee had his arm and did the old Hulk Hogan thing where just before it hit the ground, he picked it back up. I know Nessa will shit on it on Tuesday, because, now they don't do that thing. They just tap it like MMA. So he's going to be like, oh, they did that. They're breaking their rules. There's no continuity, whatever. Fuck you, Nessa. And then Keith Lee's comeback was really strong, and then it just kind of went flat. They were on the top rope, and he had the Doomsday Saito, and that was it. And I was kind of Lee had his comeback, and Kross just, he ended it, and I was kind of fell flat. I was like, oh, okay. And my wife was in the room, and, she's like, ooh, did you just not like a Keith Lee match? What is that? Because it happens, every now and then, so one of my favorites, I don't like a match, but, when my wife points it out, it's rough. But I think it was I think we all knew Karrion Kross was going to win this match. I think we all knew that Keith Lee was a transitional champion for that. But I think it was a little soon. I feel like they could have done something. I was kind of waiting for Karrion Kross to, go overboard and do too much like he did the Ciampa and the ref stopping it and not being a title change or something similar to that. I don't know how you felt about the match. Maybe you were standing up and clapping because you're a ray of sunshine.
So at the end of the day, obviously, I love everything. But I will say...
Except AEW. You don't love AEW.
Yeah. AEW, it's just overrated. Look, damn it, you're going to get me on the tirade. We're talking about NXT TakeOver right now.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I predicted Keith Lee to win because I felt like it was too soon for him to lose. He literally just won the championship. So I didn't really like losing just right away. I agree with what you said in the fact that carrying us just kind of winning. It felt out of nowhere, but in kind of a bad. It felt more of a surprise just for the sake of surprise. It didn't feel like a surprise, for the sake of it being a good idea.
It wasn't an RKO out of nowhere, definitely.
No, yeah, and exactly. And even though it was like sometimes I'm just like, well, I knew that was gonna happen because my name's Mania, so I know everything. But I'm just saying, like, realistically, it just, I don't know. I was surprised, but I was also disappointed because I wanted Keith to have a little bit of a longer run. His build was so good, and his title win was just, it felt like a moment that for him to lose so quickly, it felt like that moment was worthless. It felt like that moment was just unnecessary. It felt like the moment was wasted.
Sometimes I'm okay with a moment being like that, though. Like, Daniel Bryan was a prime moment like that. He won at SummerSlam, and then Randy Orton cashed in, and there was a reason for it. And obviously, that was a completely different story. Something in me tells me that Keith Lee might be getting the call up. I think that WWE was enamored by him after SummerSlam, Survivor Series. So I think time will tell on that. Like, he might have another match. He might get called up. Like, who knows? I think he's in the same position that Drew McIntyre too. Like, he was his championship was really cool, and I think we all popped hard when it happened. But I think the crowd really wanted it, and like this match was really telling with that too, because I could hear the 5 people in the crowd chanting the Keith Lee chant, and it just wasn't the same. Like, it wasn't feeling that. So I think it as much as it didn't feel great, I think it might have been the right time to put the title on Cross and let Cross dominate for a little bit. But Cross is in the same situation. I don't see him in NXT that long. It's just he'll be there pretty quick.
So here's my question then. Had there not been a coronavirus and there had been fans and whatnot, in the crowd, like, say everything is normal that it is, do you think that Keith Lee's championship run lasted longer than it did?
Probably. I think it probably would have. I think if there was crowds, that Cross probably would have been on the main roster too. I feel like he would have had a.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like he would have debuted on the main roster. I think that I'm very surprised that he was on NXT. Like, it fits, and I enjoy it, and I like being able to cover it and watch it because I don't get to see as much of the main roster because of work. But I think he was one of those people that would have just been hot-shotted up real quick because I think he was I know that there was all that stuff about him being leaked for being at Royal Rumble and whatnot. So I think that they had that idea and they just kind of tossed it around. I think they're like, let's just put him on NXT.
Yeah, I don't know because, like, if you hotshot him into the main event, he's essentially going, like, where are you going to put him? You gonna put him on Raw 1% against Drew McIntyre, or
there's not a lot of people that they can.
SmackDown?
There's not a lot of people they can hotshot on the main roster. I think AJ Styles was like one of those great ones that worked. I think the club Gallows and Anderson fell kind of flat on there. And obviously Mike Bennett and Marie Kanellis really fell flat. Obviously there was some extenuating circumstances there, but you have to be really strong. I think Cross and Scarlett would have been able to do it, but obviously they're on NXT, so we'll see how it is. That
they couldn't do the main roster. I'm just saying, realistically speaking, though, I feel like the main roster already pretty stacked. So
it would have been a different.
It
would have been a different story though, because we don't know. Obviously, it would have been a full main roster too. So there would have been a whole bunch of different cast of characters for them to feud that we're seeing right now.
Right, you got a Karrion Kross versus Roman Reigns, and it's a completely different situation.
Don't sign me up for
Karrion
that.
Kross. Whoa! Pause for a second. Did you just thumbs down and spit take Karrion Kross versus Roman Reigns?
I will only watch that if Karrion Kross schools him like he did Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh my You are
so the people, you have to understand, like, JC shit on me because I hate Braun Strowman. I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, like, I don't.
Dude, I
I'm
understand that you're not a Roman Reigns fan, but you gotta be kidding. Karrion Kross versus Roman Reigns, and you're gonna thumbs down spit take that? Oh my! I almost threw my girlfriend's laptop across the living room right now. Holy shit!
So let's give you a
that's top two draws, bro. What are you doing right now?
We'll see about that.
I'm sorry, it's not for the TNT Championship with fucking Cody Rhodes, but
you signed me up for Karrion Kross, Brock Lesnar. Like, I would love that one.
Suplex City, and you're here, but fucking Roman because it's Roman Reigns, gonna be mad about it? Get out of here!
I won't be mad. I won't be mad, but let's be real.
You just thumbs down it. Don't even be not gonna be mad. Shut up.
Because if it was Karrion Kross, he would have got 3 spears, 2 Superman punches, and he would have lost. Ray, what was your match of the night? Let's hear it.
Oh man, for the Takeover, that's a tough call. I'm between the ladder match. I'm between the ladder match and the championship. Honestly, I'd say probably the championship match. Just overall, I thought, again, Keith Lee, he's been a great champion, and even though it was a slow paced match. Like, I will admit that it wasn't super exciting from like a fan standpoint, but they put on a good show. They definitely, like, they told a great story, and as much as I hate to see Keith Lee win so soon, it worked, for Karrion Kross to win. It definitely worked. So I'd give that, yeah.
So my match of the night, I'm going to give it to the ladies. Io and Dakota did a great job, obviously. I do love my women's wrestling. I think that, it did suffer from the, position on the card, but it was also placed high on the card. So it's it was well-important match. I think Dakota still looks like a great star. I am still loving the fact that she's the Shawn Michaels and Raquel Gonzalez is the Diesel, and I think that that's kind of fun, and they kind of keep playing on that, and we'll see where they go from there. But I really enjoyed that match. I loved Rhea kind of coming in for the rescue and face to face with Raquel. So we'll see. I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of tag matches here and there for that the next couple of weeks on NXT. Ray, if you had to pick an MVP for the night, who do you got?
Man, I hate to do it, but I think it might be Pat McAfee.
So mine, I thought about doing the Pat McAfee, but I'm gonna go with Adam Cole. So the guys on the pod kept talking about how.
Oh, it's the match.
Yeah,
match. That match is the MVP. Then really, it was those two guys, because at the end of the day, they got the mainstream hype. ESPN was talking about it. Twitter was talking about it. Facebook, everybody's talking about it.
ESPN was talking about it, and I called that on my recap. But no, Adam Cole, like JC was talking, JC was talking about how Seth Rollins.
Wait, did you call it? Because I thought Nestlemania called it, because he calls everything. I don't know if you knew this about him, but he predicts the world. He knew the coronavirus. He knew about Pat McAfee. He knew about everything. So, I'm just saying, like, if you want to know what's happening, Nestlemania is – other than the fact, other than NXT Hangover.
The worst part about it –
he'll predict everything except that.
The worst part about it is that I did tweet it from the Jobberknocker account, so it does look like Nestle did call it. But I did, when I put out the NXT a couple weeks ago, I said, I'm hitting this before ESPN gets the take. But no, JC was joking about Seth Rollins having to carry a broom on SummerSlam with Dominic. I think Adam Cole, he carried a much more athletic broom with Pat McAfee.
Absolutely.
But it takes two to tango, and when Adam Cole, and Pat McAfee got in there, they looked like champs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So before we socialize the show, I want to give you a chance to talk about your Mass State memories. It's been a really fun trip. I was looking at, I went to Royal Rumble 2003 with my brother and my dad, so I really enjoyed reading that one. And even I had a chance to watch a couple of them. So I was watching the Royal Rumble SummerSlam 2006 the other day. That was a fun one to watch.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit. You got a chance.
It's been crazy to kind of relive all these events that both the ones that I've been and the ones that I haven't, and for me, it's the one that I haven't been has been more kind of entertaining to kind of check out, because I'm sitting here and I'm watching, and I'm like, why the fuck wasn't I think live? Actually, I think it was the Backlash. The main event was The Rock versus Goldberg. Obviously, the SummerSlam, which again, the SummerSlam, which was WrestleMania, versus what was it, Goldberg versus Rock, all these different matches. It's been crazy to think about. Boston has been very, very fortunate in regards to what we've been able to see live and the been able to put together. So it's great to be able to kind of look back at the ones that I've been as a fan. Obviously, over the years, been able to work my way through. Hopefully, over the couple of weeks, I'm going to start checking out some of the ones that I've actually been able to work. Maybe give you guys a little bit of an insight as far as how that's been going.
Ooh, that's a peak we've all been wanting for a while. But it's cool. I really enjoyed reading those, especially because, it gets me thinking about some of those, cool moments that I've seen live, And I only saw a few events when I was in Massachusetts, but when I moved to Florida, I saw The Miz win the WWE Championship at the first event at the Amway Center, which was really cool. I got to see AJ Styles debut in the Royal Rumble, and, whoever was the camera person, someone should go slap Kevin Dunn for, cutting to Roman Reigns' face instead of, AJ debuting. Because, I will never forget, me and my buddy Aaron and Nick were up in the crowd, and, we're like, who the hell is this music? And all of a sudden on the screen it just says I am, and as soon as it said phenomenal, that place popped. That was, it was, I call it a Hardy Boys pop because I was at WrestleMania 33 when they returned. It was such a cool moment, and I saw Ric Flair retire, at WrestleMania. Was really cool. I saw Ric Flair retire at Impact. It was really fun. It's cool.
My next question is why am I writing about fucking ridiculous memories of random ass Boston pay-per-views when realistically speaking, you have physically been at some of the best moments in wrestling history. Here I am writing about random ass Backlash and Survivor Series and random ass Night of Champions, and you're over here talking about, I was at Ric Flair's last match ever, and I was at this and that. It just doesn't make sense. Dude, you need to jump on this.
I'm going to do the Nestle card and say I got 2 kids at home now. But, I always joke, I walked into the Raw when The Miz cashed in, and I had my Miz shirt, and I was like, if Miz doesn't fucking cash in, I riot. And when he, I'll never forget, he had a match, and Alex Riley came out and said, The Miz has anxiety and can't wrestle. And I'm like, he's fucking doing it tonight. This is happening. And when he did, other than that angry girl and my buddy that I was with, that place popped. And it was a fun night. But Ray, it was fun to have you join. You're much more positive than my brother. It's nice to not have to look at 2 of me on the same screen. And my wife was very thankful because had no one been able to do it, she's like, I'll do it, but, I don't know how great it'll be.
Oh, my bad. I'm not trying to ruin a marriage or nothing. If you and your wife want to talk about wrestling, if you want me to, I can bring in, hold on a second. I think she's in the kitchen. I can bring in my fiance, and she can talk about wrestling. She didn't watch a single second of the entire NXT event, so she can tell you what it was like watching me drink beer and what it was like, falling asleep watching Grey's Anatomy in the other room. But I'm just saying, I don't know what kind of podcast we're running here, so
yeah,
let me know.
But it's time to socialize, so I make sure I keep notes because I'm not Dan Quinn. I do not forget people. So, you can go to jabbernaka.com, see all the articles from everyone. Joe Stopper did put up the AEW article for tonight, folks. So if you didn't...
Nobody's watching AEW, bro. It's night.
You got better things to do on a Saturday night anyway than to go, there are bars. There's bars open in some states.
All of the demographics are watching NXT tonight.
Yeah. So you can get the podcast on Anchor, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Facebook, Jobberknocker, Instagram, Jobberknocker, Twitter, @Jobberknocker, @Nestlemania, @JC the JK, @Ray the JK, @BillyD2411, @JoePollock47, @TheRealDealBcox, @DQ of the JK. Hopefully he's enjoying his day in the woods with no internet, that little fucker. And I am @TJ of the JK. I just want to tell Danny that he did not pass on any of the technology to me. So if this sucks, I apologize for that. Until the next Hangover, thank you, Ray Ray, again for joining me for this one. I am TJ, and we will see you next time. Thank you.